Next week, US President Donald Trump is expected to prohibit American firms from buying equipment from the Chinese telecommunication equipment makers Huawei and ZTE. It follows similar moves by Australia and Canada over security concerns, at the same time as we've had similar comments from Britain's defence minister and people in the European Union as well. Networks are looking at being installed in each of these nations that use the so-called 5G technology, and so a lot of investment is being made. Curran is a cybersecurity expert at the University of Ulster. I asked him if such a ban by President Trump was a good idea.
It's a bad one from the public perspective because what we need is competition in the markets. And again, when it comes to 5G, which is the future rollout of our mobile networks again, which promises super broadband speeds on the go, what we have is Huawei are leading the race at the moment to deploy these networks. And so if you have a situation where a leading provider who is quite competitive in the market, and that's why they are leading, is removed from a market, then naturally what you will have is less competition in that market. So therefore the consumers will possibly face higher rates when it comes to 5G networks.
So from small pocketbook economics, this is obviously therefore a bad thing because it removes some big competitors from the marketplace. For the larger companies, it means they're going to have to pay more in order to build their mobile phone towers and put the networks in. But the angle that the United States is taking, and indeed the European Union seems to be quite nervous about this as well, seems to be one of security.
It is, because we have this worry within the West again, with Chinese again, with whether they're spying and whether they're stealing patents and stealing equipment. And of course, if they are the people who have, if a Chinese company is the one who is in the core of a network, well then there's this fear which is being put forward, especially by the US government, that they have a backdoor, that they could possibly plant whatever they want into these networks, and that there's a risk for the cybersecurity of a nation. But of course, again, that when it comes to Huawei, this fear has been known about for many years. And of course, in 2010, which is 8 years ago, there was a Huawei Cybersecurity Evaluation Centre set up in Banbury. And this is led by the British government, the National Cybersecurity Centre, the NCSC here in the UK, and telecom operators like BT. And what they do is they examine Huawei equipment. They do reviews on this regularly, and then they look for what these backdoors, which is the worry about. And of course, to date, no backdoor has been found.
This also isn't an especially new argument. I mean, we had similar things surfacing when the 3G networks were put in, similar things surfacing when the 4G networks were put in, general internet infrastructure. Sure, Cisco Systems may be a US company, but a lot of their base technology was being manufactured back in China in the first place. So has anything actually changed to, if you like, raise the threat or fear level?
There was a report in July from the NCSC, again, from this Huawei Cybersecurity Centre in Banbury, where they reviewed the code, and they said that there was fears in one part that they had found that some of the equipment they were examining was not the same as what was in the production networks. But that is really all they told us. Again, they haven't come along and found the smoking gun and told us that there was this particular code. And they also voiced concerns, again, from this review of Huawei equipment in Banbury, that some of the third-party suppliers, in other words, in the supply chain, that there was a lack of rigor in the supply chain again. But, you know, if I'm honest about it, I just see this as an economic attack. The US wants to control the 5G networks. They don't want the Chinese Huawei company in their country again, and that they've sent emissaries overseas to the UK again to voice these concerns.
Curran there.